The NFL draft is finally in the books. We know who our players are. Let's take a look at our draft grades for the 2022 New York Jets draft class. Jets, Jets, Jets! Welcome to Jets Talk. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Boys and girls, I go live every Monday for my live call-in show from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, so I want to hear all your thoughts on this year's draft class. And then Tuesday night, we come back with our Talkin' Jets panel, myself, O'Leary, and Greenbean. So ask us all your Jet-related questions. And guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us for all 3 days of the NFL draft. If you want to take a look back at the reactions to a bunch of the big things that have happened, a bunch of people have tagged the timestamps on each one of the draft streams, so you can go through and just kind of click through all that. But it's a lot of fun. It was a blast over 3 days, and it has been a grueling stretch of streaming for myself, Greenbean, and Matt. But it was a lot of fun, so thank you guys for tuning in. But let's move on to our draft grades for this year's class. And look, I'll be honest, I'm not going to break down. I'm going to talk about each player and my thoughts on each one, but I'm not going to give a grade for each one because this was a home run of a draft class. This is A+. I don't even know how you could give it any other grade outside of that. So let's start with our first pick, number 4, Ahmad Sauce Gardner. He's going to be the big applesauce here in New York. And I just absolutely love it. This was a player you guys heard me talk about for a long time this offseason, and I am so happy that it actually happened. This guy is a statement pick for your team. I said it before, pick number 4, you are telling the rest of your team exactly the type of player and the type of personality you want in your locker room, and Ahmad Sauce Gardner is absolutely the guy you want to try and build your franchise around. And you kind of saw this as a constant theme throughout most of these picks, and this one was just so impressive. The guy never allowed a touchdown through his entire college career. He had 131 yards given up on the season and only gave up 14 yards against Alabama. I don't know what you could ask for. This guy literally had probably the best college career a cornerback could really have. So this was impressive. It was a lot of fun watching some of the videos of him and Woody Johnson unscrewing the sauce bottle and Woody asking, do you know what kind of sauce is in there? And I'm thinking like, well, of course he does. He's the one that put the sauce in there, and then Sauce says the same thing. So if you haven't watched some of the videos that have come out on the Jets Twitter, it's really been a lot of fun to kind of see the interactions with everyone as it goes. At number 10, the Jets wind up surprising a lot of us. Now, when we saw corner go at number 4, we kind of assumed, or at least most of the people that I'm aware of, kind of assumed that number 10 was going to end up being an edge rusher because this was an edge-heavy class, the top end of the draft class, and that just kind of makes sense. That's where you were going to see. I expected Jermaine Johnson, which would have been awesome because that was the top 2 picks I had in my mock draft prior to the draft. So it made me feel kind of good about that. But they go with Garrett Wilson, arguably wide receiver 1 on a lot of people's draft boards. This guy has great route running ability. He has great hands. He contorts his body in the air. It almost reminds me of like Odell Beckham, watching him kind of do the pre-game catches that he used to do all the time. This guy is so fast. He ran a 4.38 40-yard dash. This past year, he had 70 receptions, 1,058 yards, and 12 touchdowns. He joins a wide receiver group of Corey Davis, Braxton Berrios, Elijah Moore, and Denzel Mims. This is going to be the deepest wide receiver group that we've had in a very long time. This is, you're looking top-end picks here. Corey Davis was a top, 5 pick. You got Garrett Wilson, top 10 pick. Elijah Moore and Mims, both top picks. This is going to be a lot of fun to watch, and I think he's going to bring a dynamic to this offense that just we haven't really had. We haven't had that stud number 1 receiver, and I think what's nice is I don't want to say there's not one stud receiver, but you have to worry about every single one of these receivers. Elijah Moore is going to be impossible to catch in a phone booth. Garrett Wilson kind of has that same type of dynamic playmaking ability. And then Braxton Berrios, you got to worry about those end arounds and all the little bubble screens and all these different things that the Jets could really be operating. I think we're going to want to see a lot of play action, and we'll get to that a little bit later in this. But these guys are going to be able to feast on some of the little intricacies that this offense has to offer that we weren't able to do last year because of, injuries and just lack of depth across the board. But I really like this pick. This was a home run selection for the New York Jets because we saw a run of wide receivers right after this. You saw Garrett Wilson go, then it was Olave to the Saints, and then Jameson Williams. So they got 2 trade-ups right behind the Jets. So clearly teams were panicked after seeing wide receivers get paid like $28 to $30 million this offseason. This was absolutely a great 5-year contract that Joe Douglas has locked us in on. Really love this. You help out your young quarterback in Zach Wilson. Then we have to worry about what's going on with our edge rusher, and Joe Douglas pulls a masterful move. He comes up from pick number, 35, trades into the back end of the first round to get Jermaine Johnson. This was one of my top edge rushers, and a lot of people had this guy as like edge 2 or 3 in their mocks, and to get him at pick 23, even if you didn't like him, like even some of the guys we were talking with didn't necessarily love Jermaine Johnson at 4 or 10, but at 26, it's an entirely different animal. And I'll say this, I'm so glad we got him. As soon as we passed on him at number 10, I'm thinking we're not going to get anyone. These guys are going to go in the top 15 to 20 picks, and we're just going to be left, sitting on our thumb. It's definitely not how I wanted this to go. But as he kept falling down, and then you see the trade-up alert, and that might have been the most excited that I've been for a Jets pick in a very long time. Like, I was excited to see what was going to happen at number 4. I was excited to see what was going to happen at number 10, but the shock of trading up back into the first round was just fantastic. And I expect Jermaine Johnson to really take the bull by the horns and go to work. He's going to go to work, and it's just going to be fabulous. The edge rush presence that we have in this team right now, you have Vinny Curry coming back, who we didn't get to see last year. You have Carl Lawson coming back from injury, who we didn't get to see last year. And then you add Jermaine Johnson to this mix, along with all the guys, John Franklin Myers moving inside. You have Quinnen back on the inside. You have Rankins back on the inside. There's just a lot of players to be really excited about. I think you're going to be able to keep your defensive line fresh, and we're going to be able to watch this guy really grow under Robert Saleh. It's when you have players of key positions where your coaches kind of hang their hats on, like the defensive line is for Robert Saleh. This is someone that I'm really, really looking forward to watching. So I'm excited here. Then we go into the second round. Now, this was a pick. We saw Nakobe Dean possibly floating around. We were like, oh man, is this guy going to happen? We trade up. My immediate thought is like, oh, it's got to be Nakobe Dean, right? Like this is the top guy on the board. Well, Dean winds up falling way farther. I was totally wrong on his value based on the injury that he had. And the Jets jump in front of Houston to get the dynamic running back, Breece Hall. This kid is a workhorse. This guy could be a 3-down back, but the great thing is he doesn't have to be here. You got Michael Carter and Tevin Coleman in the backfield, and you're going to be able to keep his legs fresher longer into the season and longer into games in general. Now, the last 3 years, 1,149 all-purpose yards. He had 4.8 yards per carry with 10 touchdowns his freshman year. Sophomore year, 1,752 all-purpose yards with 5.6 yards per carry and 23 touchdowns. 1,774 all-purpose yards this past year, 5.8 yards per carry and 23 touchdowns as well. This guy is a touchdown machine. You look at the way that Joe Douglas has really surrounded Zach Wilson. We don't have any excuses anymore. Zach is not going to have any excuse. He's got a top running back. This was running back number 1. You got arguably wide receiver 1 as well. And the depth at both those positions now, even if you wind up having an injury or two, you should still have a serviceable offense to put out there. And I think LaFleur is really going to have a lot of fun here. We got to see some hook and ladders and some of the fun little things that he added into the offense last year. And actually having even more playmakers on top of it is just a home run here all the way around. Next Gen Stats said in the last 15 drafts, there have been 5 players with a 99 overall draft score. Travis Etienne, Najee Harris, Saquon Barkley, and Derrick Henry were the other 4. Breece Hall was number 5. So this is the athletic specimen that you want to have. I expect the carries to still be split, but I would say maybe Breece Hall gets like 50% of the carries. You might see Michael Carter get about 35% of the carries, and then you'll see Tevin Coleman kind of pick up the rest with the 15% there. But I think there's going to be a lot of switching guys in and out. He can catch out of the backfield. Michael Carter and friggin' Brees Hall are going to complement each other so well. And you kind of run into that joke too. You got Carter, you got Johnson and Johnson, you got Hall and Hall, Brees Hall and Bryce Hall, Quincy Williams. We got a lot of double names on our team, and it's worked out so well. So I'm really, really happy with this. Then we go into the third round, and at the tail end, this was the comp pick that we had. We get the hometown favorite, Jeremy Ruckert. Now, if you guys haven't taken a look at the different clips that have been coming out on Instagram and Twitter and all these different places, you're seeing Jeremy Ruckert, his family doing the JETS chant. This kid's from Long Island. He's a Jet fan. Absolutely astronomical upside as far as tight end goes. Chris Sims actually had him as his tight end #1 overall. So if you're looking at it that way, Jets could have gotten cornerback 1, wide receiver 1, edge 2 or 3, running back 1, and tight end 1. Talk about a better 5 picks you could have had for the New York Jets heading into this draft. I don't think you could really do that at all. I love it. I love it. Now, there were so many weapons on that Ohio State team that Ruckert really didn't get a lion's share of reps, but he made the most out of the touches that he did get. 6'5", 250 some odd pounds. This is really going to be a safety blanket for Zach Wilson, especially around the red zone. And you get a little bit of team chemistry there with our boy Garrett Wilson. Maybe those two will know a little bit more, and it's going to help the learning curve all the way around. I don't know. I love it. This is a player that a lot of Jet fans had in their mock drafts. It's a guy that really, I think a lot of us held near and dear to our heart, and we're hoping that this guy could be our version of Wayne Corbett. Me growing up, I was Wayne Corbett in the backyard, catching passes from my dad, playing in the streets, those kinds of things. Jeremy Ruckert is going to be the icon for a lot of young Jet fans. They're going to see this kid, and they're going to say, hey, if I work hard and I really put my nose down and I just do my work, maybe I can end up on the New York Jets like Jeremy Ruckert. So this is probably one of my favorite draft picks that wound up happening for the New York Jets. Really, really happy there. The guy catches, he blocks. We're going to be able to use him maybe on special teams to start. Now, we have the 2 tight ends in Uzoma and Conklin, so I don't think he'll be, I don't want to say he won't be starting right away. He won't be the first target. He'll have an opportunity to kind of learn. And this is nice because you're starting to see the depth on this Jets team because you don't have to force guys into starting roles. You can allow them time to mature and grow and really understand the playbook before just throwing rookies out there. So I really like this pick. 100% awesome. One that I think a lot of us probably wanted. Then we move into the 4th round. One of our 2 4th-round picks. We select offensive tackle Max Mitchell. This guy was with us at the Senior Bowl. He's 6'6", 297 pounds. He was a 94.8 on Pro Football Focus. That was good enough to make him the 2nd highest graded tackle in all of college football last year out of 609 total tackles graded. He gave up just 5 sacks over the course of 1,112 pass blocking snaps in his career. This guy has a ton of upside. He's played a little bit of left tackle, mainly a right tackle. This provides you a little bit of insurance in case Fant or Becton goes down. You have to move Fant over to the other side. And then you also have McDermott and you have Edoga, so it creates some competition there. I wanted to see Joe Douglas go with an offensive tackle later in this draft to kind of show off his scouting prowess. I think he tried to do that with Cam Clark. Unfortunately, circumstances beyond his control kind of prevented Clark from actually playing. But this is an interesting one for us. We got to see a little bit more of extended time with him at the Senior Bowl. He's got a little bit of positional flexibility, and he's got high upside. I really like the way this guy plays on tape. I think this is going to be one that Jet fans can look forward to maybe in a year or two. But it provides you a little bit of insurance. If he does well, Fant decides to leave at the end of the year, then maybe you have your answer right here on the roster already. The final player we took today, feels like 3 days ago, it feels so long ago, was Michael Clemons, the defensive end out of Texas A&M. He's 6'7", 263 pounds. This is a big boy. Really massive dude. When you watch him play, he's got some really cool pass rush moves. He does this speed move, and then he flips it into a spin to throw the tackle off guard, or he'll do a bull rush, and then he'll rip his hands down, just throwing the tackle off to the side. This guy's a powerful dude. Now, he had 32 tackles this past year, 11 tackles for a loss, and 7 sacks. Guy has some wheels. He's got a really strong, really fast motor, and I think this is the type of high upside pick that you can take in the 4th round. He had, I believe it was a high 3rd round grade. I could be mistaken on that. But really good. This is the type of player you want to take at this point in the draft, and it was our last pick. So you know what? If you even think he's going to go a little bit further down, pull the trigger on the guy you like right here. Now, there's a few things that you could knock him for. He got arrested, had a firearms charge, a marijuana charge, and what was the other one? Driving without a license. So my understanding is that came from one arrest or two arrests. I don't know. Whatever. Not ideal. You want to. It doesn't kind of jive with maybe the rest of the character upside that Douglas likes, but I think it's worth it to take swings on guys like this. A lot of times guys learn from it. They make stupid mistakes. Look, college kids make dumb mistakes. I was there. I made dumb mistakes. Totally understand it. Hopefully you learn from it and you move on. You become a great edge rusher in our depth rotation. Now, this guy, he's probably not going to start. He's going to be part of a rotation. He'll swap in with Huff. He'll get some playing time throughout the course of the season. And, maybe there's some high upside there. He did get better each of the last few years. Like I said, 7 sacks this past year. Nothing to sneeze at. Definitely liked it all the way around. But, guys, that is the Jets draft class. From start to finish, I really, really enjoyed this draft, probably more than any one that I can remember in recent memory. Last year was a lot of fun. I really liked our top 4 picks. This one I like even more. These were hitting players that I really coveted, players that I really wanted the Jets to go after, players that I didn't realize I would want the Jets to go after until I wound up digging a little bit deeper into them. So Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh, I have full faith in you guys. This is absolutely a home run of a draft. I could not be happier with our New York Jets. There's something about going to, turning on the radio, listening to the sports radio on the way to the car, or not on the way to the car, in the car on your way to work, or just to flip it on the TV, just to have it in the background, and you're hearing everyone around the NFL talk glowingly about the New York Jets draft class. And this is something we're just not used to as Jet fans. And even some of the older Jet fans that we've been talking with the last few days, they say, this might be the best draft I've ever seen. And it just feels good. It's a good time to be a Jet fan. Guys, we are looking up. This is going to be a really exciting season. Make sure you hang out with us Monday night for the call-in show, Tuesday night for the Talkin' Jets panel. But my name's Ryan. This is Jets Talk, signing off. Jets.